to introduce our next speakers, we have a special video. So let's share the video, and then we're going to bring Chuck online with us.
But I can assure you that a lot of people are asking questions. A lot of guys over there, a lot of the mechanics, a lot of the team managers. These people are very intrigued, and in general, people are paying more attention to the sport.
We know how good he is here. Bring him on.
Here comes Aaron, final corner, onto the front straightaway. Ducati sliding sideways, and Aaron will take victory by 0.3 of a second.
Racing is the hallmark of MotoAmerica.
Cameron Beaubier has got this one. It's to the final corner. Here comes Kelly. He's deep on the brakes, trying to find position. Can he get a turn? They're going to squirt off the final corner. The drag race to the checkered flag. It's run straight away. Here we go to the line, the final race of the class, and it's going to be Chapin who takes the victory over Ella Dreyer in second place, ahead of Avery Dreyer and Eli Block.
Oh, man, what an amazing amount of highlights from MotoAmerica in the season. And we are joined by Chuck Aksland, the Chief Operating Officer of MotoAmerica. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chuck, I don't know how your team was able to pack that many highlights into that time frame, because I have a feeling we probably could have been watching about 2 or 3 hours worth of highlights and still been excited.
No, certainly it's a small snippet, Brad, of what we do over our events. And, every time I see that one clip of the rider kind of trying to ride the wall at Daytona, and that guy ended up actually on the podium after that incident. So it's all pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. If you would, and we're going to dive deep into everything that MotoAmerica has going on and where you've been and where you are going. Give us just a quick overview of the sanctioning body, if you would.
Well, we took over the series in 2015. We just celebrated our 10th season, and actually we did a deal by taking over the commercial rights to what used to be the AMA Superbike series from DMG, which was Jim France's company that also owns Flat Track. The sanctioning rights are back at AMA Racing in Ohio, and we're also FIM North America Sanction Series. So from 10 years ago, I think our first race, we had about 75 riders, and we've grown that to, we get between 180 and 200 entries per round. We have 9 total classes, everything from our premier superbike class to the baggers, as you've seen, to mini bike programs and so forth. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the King of the Baggers, by the way, and we'll get to that here in just a minute, but it's just so cool to see them. Well, let's talk about a lot of the things that you've done over the past decade, and as the Chief Operating Officer, pretty instrumental in actually shaping the series. Can you share a little bit about your background and what got you here, and what your day-to-day responsibilities are?
Yeah, no, for sure. I probably like a lot of your guests, I was kind of born into to racing. My father was a racer, and he was actually the first sponsor of Kenny Roberts when Kenny Roberts was about 15 years old. So Kenny's been a part of our family ever since. I actually did a lot of racing in Northern California, everything from flat track to motocross, and did some road racing. Once I stopped road racing myself, I got involved with managing Kenny's team, first stateside, and then went over to Europe and ran what was then the Marlboro Yamaha team, helped Kenny with that. And we won world championships with Wayne Rainey, John Kaczynski, and we were Yamaha's #1 factory team in what is now Moto GP. We left the Yamaha factory in 1996 and basically developed our own motorcycle, became a constructor in our own right. We set up a shop in Banbury, Oxfordshire, right in the middle of Formula One country. So I moved my family over there. My kids were raised in England, for at least 12 years, which I didn't know if that was going to be a good move or a bad move. I figured they'd either like it or hate me for it at the end of the day. And turns out they got friends all over the world from that experience. So that's pretty cool. So Kenny's team stopped in 2008. I came back to Northern California, where I'm from. Went to work for a management company, International Racers, managing motorcycle riders. I still manage one. His name's Jonathan Reyes, the World Superbike champion. During that period, I also got a call from Tavo Hellman to, see if he could use some of my expertise to come out to Circuit of the Americas. And turned out I was the fourth person hired there. When I drove out to Dakota the first time, it was a field basically. So, as part of that experience of developing the circuit, and I was a vice president of motorsport operations for the first 3 years. And then I got a call from my good friend, Wayne Rainey, and he said he met two guys, Richard Varner and Terry Cargus, and their question was, where's the next generation of motorcycle road racing U.S. world champions going to come from? And one thing led to another, and here we are with MotoAmerica.
It's really cool. It's pretty amazing. And you mentioned MotoAmerica taking over American road racing back in 2015. And honestly, at the time, Chuck, the sport was kind of struggling. So, once you actually got in the door and got this up and running, what were the immediate priorities for you in being able to revitalize the series? And what did you do to set the foundation for the impressive growth that we've seen over the last 10 years?
Yeah, I remember, I think it was September 5th when we actually announced that we're taking over the series, and the first race was in March, and we had basically no staff, no schedule, no sponsors, no nothing. So obviously we, set things in motion, got on the phone, got a schedule going, started hiring staff. For us, the critical point was to try and align the rules with what the World Championship was doing, in Superbike. During the earlier periods in time, you used to have the Honda factory teams, Yamaha factory teams, they would have different rules here in the United States versus what they had in Japan and versus what they had to do in the World Superbike Championship. So we thought it would be a positive thing to align those rules so that once our American riders, got the opportunity to go over to the World Superbike, they were familiar with the electronics, with the equipment and so forth, and make that transition easier. And at the same time, hopefully we'd funnel down technology from the World Superbike Championship and, parts and equipment to our series here. So that was really the first thing, and trying to align those rules, and not only the technical rules, but the sporting rules as well. So if our kids got a chance to go over there, they knew the procedures of how to start procedure, what all the, lights meant and flagging rules and all that. So we just try to make the transition for them as easy as possible for that. In that manner.
Well, you make it sound easy. No schedule, no sponsors, rules, all of that stuff. That was a lot of ground to cover in a very short amount.
Yeah. I remember, because I think my first call was from Dunlop, who's our official tire sponsor, and they said, "Hey, what are we doing about Daytona?" Because at that time, DMG had announced that at Daytona in March they were going to go to back to 1,000cc superbikes, and it was like, so we got this call and they were going to have a test in October, and we didn't even have our feet on the ground yet. So that was the first thing. And at that time we decided to kind of bow out of the Daytona 200, and they went a different direction. But we've got back together with them. We've run the Daytona 200 for, I guess, this 2025 will be our fourth iteration of it, and it's all working out pretty good. So we're happy to be back at the 200, and yeah, definitely a lot of challenges. We had a lot to do in a very short amount of time, but we put together a pretty good staff and accomplished a lot.
Yeah, I would say so. And really a lot's happened over the last 10 years. Let's talk about getting out there and getting to the fans and getting to the people. First, the introduction of MotoAmerica Live Plus, also your focus on digital marketing, those have clearly been game changers in what you've been able to do. Can you tell us about the role of digital accessibility, if you will, in making the sport more appealing, I guess, to a broader audience?
Yeah, and I think really the key to that was, I think 6 years ago, we decided to take on the production of all our racing ourselves. So, and with that, we, obtained all the rights to our content, and that's really helped us, one, one, help broaden the awareness of Moto America, because we're able to place, different classes in different broadcast locations. We have agreements with Fox Sports, MAV TV, ESPN Latin America, who broadcast in the Spanish language. We have MotoAmerica Live Plus. So if you're a real motorcycle racing fan, you want to watch 20 hours of coverage over the weekend, you can pay the subscription fee and come join us. And that's a real unique experience, because we try and take the viewer kind of behind the scenes and give them more than just the racing action, and a lot of interviews with mechanics and riders and so forth. And I was a little bit skeptical about how many people would actually watch the full 20 hours, but it's a majority of them. It's pretty amazing. So they either have real happy wives or not so happy wives, I would imagine.
I like that. Hey, either way, if they're sitting there watching 20 hours of Moto America on a weekend, they're
That's right.
so that's pretty good. All right, let's talk about some of the new classes. You've got the build, train, race class. Honestly, my personal favorite, the king of the baggers. I just think the competition is awesome and it just looks so cool. How do the new classes appeal to audience beyond, say, what the traditional road racing fans are, and what impact have they had on the sport's popularity?
Yeah, certainly the king of the baggers, I think, was a surprise for us all. It started as an exhibition class, I think, during COVID, and we've evolved it. The technology of those bikes, we have a lot of people that we know in Europe, and you could watch super bikes all day long, but a bagger on a racetrack it's almost like something you're not supposed to look at, in a way, right? But the technology that both the Harley-Davidson Motor Company and Indian have put into those bikes, they're legitimate race bikes now. And I never thought I'd see a 620-pound motorcycle doing 185 miles an hour on the banks of Daytona, but that's where they are now. So it's pretty action packed. The competition is pretty even between the two manufacturers, and it's very unique for sure.
Yeah, what inspired the creation of that? I mean, I know you mentioned something that kind of came out of COVID, but typically people don't think of motorcycles, going three wide across the start finish line on the banking of Daytona.
No, and the idea was brought to us along with, I think there was the gentleman that brought it to us, Rob Bidos. He brought a couple ideas to us, and the king of the bagger racing was one of them. And he presented, he presented the idea originally to Wayne Rainey, and Wayne was like, well, let's see what one on a racetrack looks like. And so he finally sent a picture about 6 months later of a guy that had a bagger out and he was dragging his knee, and it was like, well, we're up for anything and we'll give it a try. And we did. And, as I said, from that first race, the social media, basically blew up from that first event. And, we had a lot of interest from Harley and Indian and other sponsors to get involved and to expand it. And so I think the next year we did 3 events, and, now I think it's a 7-race schedule going into 25.
Yeah, and I mean, look, part of the schedule, you guys raced, same weekend as Moto GP at Circuit of the Americas, putting big baggers in front of that audience. How was that reaction?
It was pretty well received, definitely, because those baggers sound like a NASCAR going down that front straightaway. They're very loud, the V twins rumbling, and that's something the Europeans certainly hadn't seen before. So they were pretty intrigued by it.
You brought up Harley-Davidson and Indian. This is another thing that fascinates me. Something just started as an idea, and you've talked about the evolution of the motorcycles. I mean, these are, 6-figure purpose-built racing bikes now, right?
Yeah, 100%. I like to compare, the budgets and the technology going into them are pretty close to what we have in the superbike class nowadays. And it's for both manufacturers involved. They take it very seriously. And as I alluded before, I spent 20 years in the Moto GP paddock, and we built our own Grand Prix bike, racing against Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki. I've never seen a rivalry like we have with Honda or Harley-Davidson versus Indian. It gives us challenges because the passion there with both companies is second to none, and neither one wants to lose. So it's pretty amazing the effort that both have put forth for the class.
Yeah, what a great way to bring in some more manufacturers as well. Speaking of bringing in new things and new people, the Build Train Race initiative, that one has actually opened doors for women racers. So how does Moto America ensure that you guys continue to promote inclusivity and diversity and really what's been a traditionally male-dominated sport?
Well, there's a couple different avenues actually, Brad. The Build Train Race is a unique program that Royal Enfield brought to us, and basically what they do is they accept video applications up to a certain period of time from the applications, and it's all new riders basically. They pick 12 young ladies out of the, I think this year they had over 150 applications for the 12 spots. Then they take them to their facility in Texas, and they give them each one a motorcycle, and they have to build the motorcycle themselves. They all add their unique touches to it. Freddie Spencer oversees the riding and coaching part of the program. He takes them out, gives them a couple track days, and make sure they're safe and know all the rules of the road on the racetrack, and then they go racing with us. And other than that, we've had quite an influx of young ladies come up through traditional type of racing, from our mini cup to our junior cup class. And Kayla Liakoff is now running for Graham Rahal, who started a team last year in the super sport class. We have Ella Dreyer, who has been on the podium in our junior cup class. And I think there's quite an influx of young ladies just coming up through the traditional ways, racing against the boys.
Yeah, I think that's a really neat thing. We do have a question from the chat, but before we get to that, because it's sort of a different version of what I want to ask you first. The Talent Cup, something that Moto America recently released, kind of a pathway now for American riders to get on the global stage of Moto GP. Can you explain what the Talent Cup is, how it works, and why you feel it's a crucial step in developing homegrown talent for international competition?
Well, back to where we started, the question was, how are we going to get Americans back in the World Championship? And, it evolved into us, taking over the AMA Superbike series, creating MotoAmerica, which is basically a production-based series, production motorcycle-based series. Our Junior Cup was kind of our entry-level category. It's for 14 to 28-year-olds. The problem with our regulations and that type of machines to the Grand Prix level is Dorna doesn't recognize a production road-based bike as a path to MotoGP. It doesn't qualify for kind of their criteria. So, it took us 10 years, but we've come up with a solution with Kramer Motorcycles. So they're building us a proper production-based race bike it's powered by a 350 KTM engine. The top 5 competitors are at the end of the season will get invited to try out for the Red Bull Rookies in Europe. And if they do well enough in the rookies tryout, obviously they'll be racing the Red Bull Rookies in the following season. So that kind of helps us from our mini cup category, which is what we're trying to do on our youth mini bike program. Then we created a second step, which will be the Talent Cup, and then Talent Cup Red Bull Rookies, and from Red Bull Rookies, hopefully they're on their way. So the debut of the Talent Cup series next year will be in front of the world at the MotoGP race at COTA. So the young kids are going to have a lot of pressure on them. It's going to be a fun class, a lot of interest in it, a lot of surprising team owners and representation. Kenny Roberts, my old boss, announced that he's going to have a program in it. So it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be fun or not fun, or, it's going to be a different experience having him back in the paddock. But, he's always enjoyed bringing up young riders, and it's welcome that he's back, involved with us.
That is a really, really cool thing that you guys are doing. On the flip side, we just talked about maybe taking riders from the U.S. and sending them international. Here's a question from the chat.
Sure.
It says, fastest Isle of Man rider, Peter Hickman, came for the 200 this year. I know Lee Johnson had plans in place before his testing injury. So do you have anything in place to encourage TT riders? And how do you see that raising Moto America's profile in the UK and also helping TT riders break into the US?
Yeah, it's not so much TT riders specifically, but we do have a lot of interest from European riders now, and British riders, and like the gentleman mentioned, Peter Hickman, and a contingent of guys that do I guess it's the proper road racing on road circuits over in the UK. It kind of starts with them wanting to come over and do the Daytona 200 actually, and the way that the rules have evolved. The type of machines are basically the next generation super sport rules, which are similar to what they do run in the UK. So that transition now is very easy for them to bring a bike over and compete. And I think it gives them a taste of what, racing here in America is. And obviously with our content, they see a lot of our social media footage and broadcast stuff overseas. So we don't really have a specific program in place to get them over, but we do get a lot more and more interest every year from the Europeans wanting to come over and race against our guys.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what we were talking about earlier too, with MotoAmerica Live Plus and different things like that, where you
Yeah.
could literally watch it worldwide. Let's get back to what we were talking about just a minute ago, the initiatives like Mini Cup, the Talent Cup. You guys are really investing in the next generation of riders. So how important is it for you to have a youth-focused development system? And then how do you see it shaping the future of the series?
No, it's very important to us. And, again, where all this started was how do we create, the next American world champion? And to do that, it starts with casting a wider net to get more young kids involved in our sport. And we took the initiative last year to really follow the model of what amateur motocross does with leading up to the Loretta Lynn's National Motocross Championship. And what we're doing is, recruiting local clubs to have mini cup qualifiers for us, which then lead to a national mini cup championship at Road America, which will be held at Road America again this year in the beginning of August. And then the steps are in place that, if you do well, there's incentive, in the top classes in our mini cup championship to then progress to the Talent Cup. And then, then you're on your way, hopefully.
That's really neat. Chuck, if you would, I know we've talked about some of the different classes, and when we watched the video at the beginning, several different types of motorcycles. It's not just sport bikes, it's not just baggers and things like that. Could you go over what the classes are that you're racing in Moto America, maybe what might separate even some of the similar ones?
Well, there's a lot of them. There's nine classes if you count the mini cup. Actually, within the mini cup, there's 5 classes just within that. But again, our entry level for the upper tier is our Talent Cup class, and that's a production race bike, which is geared more towards like a Moto3 bike that's run in the World Championships. The age groups for that is 14 to 21. If you decide to not go the European direction and want to stay, climb the ranks in Moto America, then we have a twin cylinder class, which you could start racing there from 15 years old. Then you move up to your super sport class, which is, it used to be primarily 600cc motorcycles, but now it's evolved with a different set of rules. And you got, 949 Ducatis and Triumphs 765s, and the new Yamaha R9 will be participating this year. You got to be 16 years old to have a license for that. You could take your first step into 1000cc racing in the stock 1000 class with once you're 17, and then gain a little bit of experience and bump up to superbike at 18 years old. So superbike class is our premier division. It's again, it's a battle with the manufacturers. This year we had Ducati won with Josh Herron. It's the first time they won the championship in 30 years, which was a pretty cool thing to see. But there was a lot of competition this year from Yamaha and BMW, Suzuki. The level of competition since we took over has risen to kind of new heights. This year was more competitive than ever. We had, I think it was 7 different winners in Superbike and 11 different riders on the podium throughout the season, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that really is. That really is. Well, we started talking about 10 years ago. Again, no schedule, no rules, no anything. Here we are 10 years later, so let's look ahead, to where we're going with all of this. So, what do you look toward the next decade, continuing the growth, all of those things?
Well, we want to continue to build our show. We take a lot of energy into promoting and putting on a good show at the races for the fans. The racing, as you saw in the clip, is very exciting. There's a lot more to offer there at the races. We have a lot of stuff to do, kids carnivals and stunt shows and a lot of just family-oriented entertainment. Our paddock is open, so it's very accessible. So we're continuing to drive awareness about what our events are, get more people to come out and experience them. Our social media does a lot to enhance that, really, and we try and to promote the events through our social media. And really our team has done an incredible job. I saw a stat today that, you know, out of all the US based motorsports, you know, we have the second highest social media following in total behind NASCAR. So that's pretty impressive for our guys' achievement. And again, it all goes back to building awareness about Moto America and you know, building the riders and giving them some opportunity.
Yeah, that's really cool. Another quick question here, talking about so Moto America is really in a sweet spot of highly professional teams, on-track product presentation, while remaining totally fan accessible. Do you have a plan for maintaining the almost grassroots racing paddock feel in your growth plan?
Yeah, no, well, it's not so much a plan, but it's you know, it's just part of what we are. So, you know, enjoy the access that our riders have, and you know, our fans are very friendly. You know, they're happy to talk, and yeah, so we just continue to move the direction we are, and you know, we continue to see enhanced attendance, you know, year on year, and you know, we're not going backwards, we're going forwards, which is a good thing, and yeah, we just keep moving forward.
Oh, by the way, another comment, Mike on the mic is always a fun interlude to all of the events. So, you know, again,
Yeah.
that goes to the fan experience, right?
Well, he's part of our Live Plus program, so if you want to really get the mic on the mic experience, you need to subscribe.
That is so cool. Look, for me, being Texas based, I truly hope that my schedule in 2025 allows me to be home to make just a short drive from DFW down to Austin to see what you guys have at COTA this upcoming season, because having been able to experience it on a stream or on a broadcast, I've not had the opportunity yet to see you guys live, Chuck, and I really can't wait. I'm pretty thrilled about what y'all are doing.
Well, come on out and we'll put you on the back of a Suzuki Superbike 2-seat bike. We'll take you for a lap.
That would be fun. That would be way better than me being in the only seat on
There you
a
go.
no, it's really cool, but it truly is impressive. Again, Moto America, the growth that you guys have shown is just astounding, and it's not just growth from taking what you do and making it better and better. You're actually expanding upon it. You're adding things to it. You're bringing in the next audience, the next set of competitors, and all of that. It's truly incredible how whole everything is right now with Moto America.
Well, you know, from myself, Wayne Rainey, and our, you know, partners, Richard Varner and Terry Cargus, we're very passionate about this. It's a 7-day, 24-hour day job. You know, it's not really a job, it's just our way of life. So, you know, I think that's what, you know, brings out, you know, in anything that you do, any event, anything that you're involved in, if you got that passion, you know, it'll drive to succeed. So we'll keep at it and keep the growth there, and you know, hopefully one day we'll achieve our goal and get another American world champion out there.
That would be great. Chuck, thank you so much for being a part of Race Industry Week.
I appreciate having me on, and you know, it's the first time I think Moto America has had an opportunity to be a part of this, and we really appreciate you inviting us along.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Looking for a quick fix of motorsports news? The Speed Sport Daily is what you need. It's a free racing newsletter delivered directly to your email every day. We'll cover the winners and the losers and tell you who's making news off the track. It's NASCAR, NHRA, World of Outlaw, IndyCar, and so much more. Go to speedsport.com today and get signed up for America's free racing newsletter and get your daily motorsports fix. The Speed Sport Daily.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck. Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crower Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crower Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crower, victory is within your reach.
For over 25 years, Wisconsin-based C-Tech Manufacturing has been engineering and manufacturing the toughest, most accessible aluminum tool drawers, cabinets, carts, and tactical storage solutions for America's hardest working professionals. Whatever you need to store and however you need to store it, put your trust in C-Tech Manufacturing. We build it better. Visit our new website at ctechmanufacturing.com or give us a call at 715-355-8842.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, what is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment. Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.